Are these going to be the next big thing in resin? Well, I believe they are. And I think people are going to love these. Welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts. And today I'm going to be talking about and demonstrating aluminium powder, slate powder, and marble powder. And the great thing is, I'm going to have a kit with these so you can buy them a lot cheaper. I mean, considerably cheaper than you would be able to anywhere else. As an example, I bought this little pot of marble powder for probably the same price that we are going to be doing 250 grams of each of these. And there's only 250 grams in that. And you're going to get all three for about the same price as I bought this. So they're going to be really, really great value. I think you're going to love the effects. Now, what I'm going to be doing with the aluminium powder is some cold casting. Now, this is nothing new, but I think it is quite new for the crafting people, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use that. And then I'm also going to show you how I use the slate powder and the marble powder. Everything I use today will be listed in the description below, along with the link to where you can get these powders really, really cheaply, and they should be available to you across the world. There will be packaging posts for certain countries, but I still think it will work out cheaper. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and ring that notification bell. And if you could, please boop that like button, that thumbs up button, because it really does help my video get out there, and I want to spread the word. So I'm going to be using polyurethane resin today because I think it will be the best resin to use for this. And also, the other great thing is it's going to be cured up really, really quickly, and I think that will make a big difference as well. And I'm going to be using this goddess mold and also the incense burner mold. And the great thing about polyester resin as well that I use is that it is heat proof to 75 degrees centigrade, if not more. Once you add things like marble powder and aluminium powder to it, it actually will increase the heat resistance to it as well. I've got all my resin mixed up now, and what I'm doing is I'm putting my marble powder into the resin, and as you can see I am using quite a bit, but you get a lot in the pots when you get it. And make sure that when you stir it around and mix it around that you don't have any lumps in it and it's all nice and smooth. I'm going to combine this with this really vibrant blue as well, and I'm just mixing that into my resin. If you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you for any of my videos and help support this channel and get your name on my coffee board, then the link for that is in the description below. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm using this and just popping it in and around this mold. And it's always good to actually do this to help blend in with polyurethane resin, because unlike epoxy resin, it doesn't always sink to the bottom. Now with the goddess mold, I'm pouring these two at exactly the same time, and you will see the brilliant result that we get from doing it like this. It is spectacular. And again, this is something that you can do really with polyurethane resin rather than epoxy resin. I'm just bursting the bubbles on top using my long neck lighter, never a torch on a silicone mold. And now moving over to the aluminium powder. With cold casting, what you need to do is you need to brush the mold first with the aluminium powder. If you can't get your aluminium powder for whatever reason to stick onto your mold, because some silicone molds don't allow it to stick, then spray a little bit of mold release on first, and that will really help. I'm mixing some black pigment in here, and that gives it its base. And then I'm putting the same amount of quantity of aluminium powder as I did part A, because that way that makes a really good ratio. Mixing that all in and then pouring it over the mold. Check out my other channel as well. The link to that is in the description. I do lots of different arts and crafts on that one and have some really good fun and experimenting with other different crafts. So I'm just pouring this in. Now this looks quite black at the moment, and that's because the black pigment is prominent in there, but it won't look like this once it's cured. I promise you. You will be so surprised at the results. And the same goes for the goddess mold. I'm painting in the aluminium powder, and make sure that you get in all the nooks and crannies of any mold that you're painting it into or brushing it into, to ensure that it's got a good covering. And I'm using a makeup brush here. I'll link those in the description below, because I find that they don't damage your molds at all. Any excess, I just tap that out, and then I pour again slowly so as not to introduce any bubbles, into the mould. I've also drawn some colouring books, and there's quite a lovely selection and a bumper deal as well that's on my website. So the link for those is also in the description. Take a look. They've been going really, really well. People are loving them. Bursting the bubbles with a long neck lighter. And now with the slate powder, again, this will look a very different colour once it's mixed in resin. It's not going to look this little insipid pale cement colour. And I put a nice good dollop, about the same amount again as part A. And you're going to have plenty in your pot, so don't worry. And then I just pour this slowly again, because you don't want to introduce too many bubbles to this when you're pouring, over this mould until it gets to the top. Now, I like the slate a lot, and I mix it with a lot of different things in the same way as I've done the marble effect. And I've got another video coming up where I've mixed it with some great things as well. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. If you'd like to become a member of my channel and enjoy all the benefits, including personalised chats with me, live streams, extra videos, bloopers, and a great community group that we've set up that's very supportive, then the link for that is in the description below as well. I'm also just going over this with my long neck lighter. Now, these demold really, really easily after about an hour, which is great. Well, all three of the burners are now finished, and I have to say I'm loving the way that they've come out. I mean, look at that marble powder and that blue powder just pouring them same time. I mean, you get a beautiful effect. The slate I do also think comes out really well, a lot darker than what you would think when you see the slate powder, but it goes well, and it really mixes well as with the marble powder. So if you did the same effect of that with that and the slate, you get a great effect. Now, the one I'm always more excited about is the powders, the metal powders. So I haven't demolded the slate one yet, that's still curing up, but this is the one where I use the marble powder and I use the normal pigment powder, and as you can see, I mean, they've come out beautiful. I mean, you could even put these onto these if you wanted to, like this. And the aluminium one, it's nice, but it looks like it needs something else doing to it. And this is the great thing about it. What I've got is a 0000 steel wool, and it polishes beautiful. And just by using a little bit of this, because you put all that aluminium into the paint, look at the difference in that. And that's just going over that a little bit. So you don't need to go over it all. You can allow it all to be polished up and brought out, or what you can do is, like I'm doing here, just going over certain bits that you think would be rubbed. And to me, this just gives such a great effect. Where else would we do it? The belly, I think, would be good, and the tops of the breasts. I mean, look at that. Look at the difference in that. I mean, that to me is just spectacular. And the same thing can happen here, and it doesn't take much to do. And because you've got all that aluminium in there, then you're going to get this result. And brushing it on also really helps. Let's do that side as well. You can do the bottom if you want, but I don't really want to do the bottom. It's pointless. You're not going to see the bottom. But there you go again, look, I mean, you just keep going over it until you feel happy with it. But again, I absolutely just adore how that comes out. And if you want one bit to be a lot more shiny than another, just go over it a bit more. You don't have to rub hard, but look at that. You can see now how that's come out shiny. I just think it gives so much more to your resin. So I'm going to show you what the slate lady or goddess will look like in a second. I'm just going to do a bit more on that. And like I said, I mean, what I'm using here is just I've just got some sample bags of this, and there's 100 grams in there. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking to do this in a lot larger quantities, and the prices are going to be really good. And then we're also looking to introduce some bronze and some brass powders as well, which will do exactly the same thing. And once we get hold of those, what I'll do is I'll do another video on them to show you how to do this. And how else are you going to get that effect? You're never going to get that effect with anything else. And this is called cold casting. It's not a new technique, but I think it is going to be the next big thing in resin without a shadow of a doubt. And again, I started these about an hour and a half ago. Obviously, I've only got one mold of this, and with the PU resin, I've managed to demold and do all 3 of those, 2 of these, and I'm just waiting for that really to finish off, and that'll be about 10-15 minutes. So there we go, that's what that one looks like now, and that's the Slate one. And again, I just do love how the Slate comes out. We've got the Slate incense holder and the Slate lady or goddess. We've got the aluminium incense holder and the aluminium goddess, and we've got the marble incense holder and the marble goddess. Now you could happily put those onto there, and I think that they would look great, or you could put them onto a separate base or whatever, but I think you have to agree, they do look stunning. Let me know what you think of them in the comments. Don't forget, the link to everything that I've used today is in the description below, and this deal is only available from my link. It's not going to be available anywhere else, and it is a great deal. I tell you, a superb price. Honestly, I put this together because I genuinely think it's a great deal, and I genuinely believe that you're not going to get a better deal anywhere else either. Please hit the thumbs up, as it really does help my video get out there, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. If you'd like to buy me coffee just to say thank you, then the link for that is also in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I do. I definitely do think that this type of resin and this style of resin is going to be the next big thing, and I think these things are going to sell extremely well. They're just different to what everybody else is currently making. Enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.